Hello, my name is William Weaver, and I thank you for watching my speech, and I hope you can learn something from it, and I hope I persuade you to change your opinion, whether or not if you believe climate change is real or if it's factual. I believe that it's factual, and that climate change is something that is happening right now, that there are evidence and facts that back this up. So I'm going to first thank you for coming. Thank you for listening, and I'm going to direct you to my speech right here. Climate change and why it is important. Climate change is important um, because right now there are some effects that are happening in the world, like hurricanes, mass floodings, things of that nature that show that climate change is real. Not only does climate change warm up the seas, and this is according to National Geographic, a very reputable source, that the sea will, by 2050, the sea will heat up and it will rise. So that means the coral reefs in, let's say, Barcelona or the Caribbean will be dead. If you go to National Geographic, you can find that coral reefs in some places are dead. And that's one because of climate change, of the warming up of the sea, because the planet is continuously warming up. One of the things that I have here is, what is climate change? Climate change is a change in the usual weather found in a place. This could be a change in how much rain a place usually gets in a year, or it could be a change in a place's usual temperature for a month or season. This is from NASA.gov. So climate change is a drastic change. So what a 1 degree in the ocean is considered drastic because fish are not used to a 1 degree rise in ocean. Global warming is also another name for climate change. For example, floods on coastal cities. If you look at the floodings in like Texas and things of that nature, you will see, or let's say even LA, let's say even Florida. They whole cities can go under because people do not want to invest the money saying, oh, climate change is real. They rather say, oh, climate change is not real. This is not true. The facts do not support it. The sea's rising. What does that mean? That means climate change is happening. New Mexico's weird weather. New Mexico is supposed to get cold during certain times of the year. In New Mexico, it has not gotten cold in Las Cruces when it's supposed to. That could be an outcome of climate change. Canada's lava cold this year. I was just in Vancouver, and it's warm. It's supposed to be at least -10 at this point. What are the effects of climate change or global warming? My sources are National Geographic, the unit, and the UNM Wilderness Student Organization. So the effects of climate change is ice is melting in the polar regions, especially at the Earth's poles. This includes melting glaciers, ice sheets covering West Antarctica and Greenland, and the Arctic sea ice. The melting of this sea ice causes the ocean to rise, and that's why Florida will flood the way it has been. When the sea ice melts over there, it brings all this water, and it just takes out cities. Many species have been impacted by rising temperatures. The temperature is caused usually by us driving cars. It goes up into the atmosphere and it thins the atmosphere, so the sun, more of the sun's heat can come in through the atmosphere. It's also because of cows release methane. We have a lot of cattle just sitting around countrywide, and they release a lot of methane. This then goes up into the atmosphere and thins the atmosphere, and the sun's heat will come in, and it will make the oceans warmer. This is my one example that it will make the oceans warmer and animals will die. And not only will animals die, it'll get too hot for us here. For example, researcher Bill Fraser has tracked the decline of Adelie penguins on Antarctica, where the numbers have fallen from 32,000 breeding pairs to 11,000 in 30 years. This is also from National Geographic. You can also find it on CNN or ABC. This is because that, when ice sheets melt, these penguins don't have a place to breed. These penguins don't have a place to, jump into the water and get their fish. Another one by National Geographic is the sea level has been rising more quickly over the last century. Some butterflies, foxes, and alpine plants have moved farther north or to higher, cooler areas. The reason why they're moving to cooler areas is because, you guessed it, that it's getting warmer in the southern regions or the eastern regions. So they move northern. Precipitation, rain, and snowfall has increased across the globe on average. This is from National Geographic. This is also from the UNM Wilderness Student Organization. If you go to New York, rain, I know this is a personal experience right here. When I was in New York, it rained a lot. During the summer, I don't think it's supposed to rain that much. So that is a personal experience. Some invasive species are thriving. For example, spruce bark beetles have boomed in Alaska thanks to 20 years of warm summer. The insects have chewed up 4 million acres of spruce trees. This is from National Geographic magazine. So this means that not only are you getting animals that are dying and that need cooler temperatures, but something that needs a warmer temperature, something that is quote-unquote bad, like an invasive species like roaches or beetles or like spruce bark beetles. They like warmer temperatures, so they're going to become more rampant than the things that kill spruce beetles, like the winter or a little bit colder weathers. What are the effects of climate change or global warming on wildlife? Global warming and the charge affects wildlife. For example, to the rising temperatures, ice sheets are melting, and the reason why this affects wildlife in, let's say, Antarctica is because polar bears do not have places to, jump in the water, pull out the seal, eat the seal on the ice, and traverse across a wide distance. If you see my thing, you will see that due to the melting of ice sheets, polar bears now cannot traverse the area the same way. Thus, they go hungry. This is because this is the sources from Paul Nicklin, a National Geographic photographer. This is one of his photographs, if you can see that, of the ice sheets melting. Now before, this was supposedly covered in all ice. You could walk on this. You see some of the thicker ice here. Now, if you jump on that, it's probably going to turn over. If you go to this link that I have right here, here's the link. It's a 30-second video of, and this is what happens when you don't have ice sheets. Polar bears go hungry. You can see that their muscles are atrophying and he can barely walk. And this is from Paul Nicklin, very famous National Geographic photographer who is documented worldwide in Time Magazine, New York Times. You see that they didn't have to rely on human food because they cannot get their own food. So at this point, this polar bear is, on death's door. Paul Nicklin says that it's starving, it has no energy, and it will be illegal for anybody to go up to it and help it. So, scientists, from this video, scientists say that polar bears will be extinct in 25 years. In the next 100 years, and, just to think of the global population is 25,000. So that shows you that, this is very serious. So thank you for your time. I appreciate you listening to me, and I hope everybody has a good day. Thank you.